Oh, that's very bad. Greetings, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you are here. Today's nonsense isn't historic, as usual. But we've got another budget deck here. And I do use budget kind of in quotes because there are 0 rares or mythics in the main. Except for the lands. I am running rare lands here, and I have good reason for that. I want to show you folks what this collection of, you know, powerful commons and uncommons can do when you get to cast them. This deck absolutely can be built with, you know, honestly, just basics if you needed to, and then upgrade as you go. But I would 100% say, kind of pick the archetype you want in Historic and get some of those lands right away. Every single land will help you cast your spells sooner. And the only thing worse than having your opponent just beat you with their wallet, you know, oh, you have all these rares and mythics. That feel, you know, the only thing worse than that feeling is not being able to cast your commons and uncommons, right? And so having these rare lands does help, but obviously, again, I did not go for any of the, you know, attacking lands or anything like that that would be a huge boon for any aggressive deck. If you have things like Den of the Bugbear, things like that already in your collection, yeah, 100% slot them in, right? Do that thing. But I'm not doing that because I wanted to showcase what just these commons and uncommons can do. Well, what is it we're trying to do? We're trying to get aggressive, folks. Just generic, good old-fashioned Boros beatdown. Of course, for those uninitiated, Boros means white and red. It's a guild on Ravnica. And the cards specifically, well, Usher the Fallen, a 2/1 for 1 that can make 1/1s if you need it to. Every time it attacks, you can boast and pay 2 mana to create a 1/1. So not crazy. We don't intend to be activating the boast very often, but sometimes it could come up, and it's nice when it does. So mainly it's here because it's 1 mana 2/1. Similarly, Scorch Spitter is a 1 mana 1/1, but whenever it attacks, deal 1 damage to target player or planeswalker it's attacking. So just 1 damage goes directly to them, even if the Scorch Spitter ends up getting blocked. So again, more just raw aggression here. We also have Healer's Hawk, 1 mana 1/1 flying, lifelink, folks. This is going to be key for trying to maybe sometimes race if we're up against the mono red decks and that sort of thing. Or our opponent's just attacking us and we're like, yeah, let's attack right back, right? Get aggressive, but also give us a little bit of lifelink to gain some of that life back. Similarly, and this is very, very key, particularly for the Healer's Hawk, Bonesplitter. You are unlikely to have these in your collection yet, unless you got, you know, I think this came in an anthology or something like that. But it is just a common, so very, very easy to craft, and 1 mana, equipped creature gets +2/+0. So you have to both cast it out, and then it just sits on the battlefield doing nothing, and then you pay 1 more mana to equip it, and your equipped creature gets +2/+0. So the advantage here is, if the creature dies, it just goes back to sitting on the side, doing nothing again, so you can re-equip it. So specifically on our flyers and things, Healer's Hawk, you can make them grow and deal lots of damage. The only other 1-drop we have is Spikefield Hazard. We're currently running 20 conventional lands. And the Spikefield Hazards can be a land, or they can be damage. This 1 damage to any target, if a permanent dealt damage that would die, exile instead. So, but notably, it can go to any target. So if they're at 1 life, folks, you just get them sometimes, like it does happen. Or maybe they have a 4 toughness creature and you attack with your 3/3. You can finish it off with the Spikefield Hazard, primarily why it's in there, but also to pad our lands so we don't get stuck with just like, you know, whatever, 2 lands or something. Being able to play the Spikefield Hazard can be very nice. Our 2-drops is where the cards start to get really powerful, folks. Relentless Raptor, it attacks or blocks each combat if able. You can't just say, oh, I don't want to block, or oh, I don't want to attack. No, no, no. Relentless Raptor says you must. So if they attack with a 5/5 and you have your 3/3 back, I'm sorry, you're blocking, right? But the advantage here is it's a 3/3 vigilance for just 2 mana. Very, very powerful. Since we want to be the ones attacking every turn anyway, send it. just let's do it, right? So it's not really that much of a downside for this deck most of the time, because if we stop attacking, chances are we're losing that game anyway, right? We might as well scoop them up, right? Because we're attacking. So not even that big of a downside, and we get a 3/3 Vigilance for it. Honored Crop Captain, similarly, a 3/2 for 2, does not have the attack Eternal Fable or whatever, but does have, whenever it attacks, other attacking creatures get +1/+0. So we're attacking with all these little, 1/1s and 2/1s and stuff, giving all of those +1/+0. That gives them 100% more power sometimes. Very, very powerful. And our last, or then we have some Lightning Strike, deal 3 damage to any target, so we can hit their face with it or get a creature out of the way or something so we can attack through. But then last but not least, our most powerful card in the deck, I think, is Adanto Vanguard. Just a 1/1 for 2. Whenever it's attacking, it gets +2/+0. And you can pay 4 life. Adanto Vanguard gains indestructible until the end of turn. So, very, very good. Since we don't really care about blocking too much in this deck, we're just getting right after them. We're getting aggressive. We're trying to beat down. It's almost always a 3/1. And the fact that they can't just say, okay, destroy all your creatures, means that Adanto Vanguard, a very, very powerful card here, and really, really a card we want to get going. It's the other reason we have Bonesplitters. Bonesplitters can go on any creature, and I encourage you, put them on and move them around. But our primary targets for them are going to be Healer's Hawks, because they have flying, and they can, also lifelink, help us in the race. But Adanto Vanguard with +2/+0 means it's a 5/1 that can gain indestructible at will. And yes, we're going to beat down with it, right? And a very, very, very good card, because one of the biggest weaknesses of this deck will be if your opponent just says, okay, destroy all creatures, right? Rounding out the rest of the cards in the deck, we have Aerial Responders, 3 mana, 2/3 Flying Vigilance, Lifelink, kind of a pet card of mine. I really, really like it, particularly with Bonesplitters. This could be just about anything else if you wanted it to, but it's a fine card in there, particularly right now when I'm recording this video is early in the season. So a lot of people are playing really aggressive decks. We're expecting to have to race some on the ladder. So that's why this is here, but it could be something else. Bolt Hound, when it's a 3 mana 2/2 haste, whenever it attacks, other creatures get 1/0 until the end of turn. So similar to Honored Crop Captain, Honored Crop Captain is a 3/2 instead of a 2/2. And it's a mana cheaper, but it doesn't have haste. Bolt Hound does have haste, so it comes out of nowhere. Your opponent will know when you cast Honored Crop Captain, they'll start doing math on their turn to make sure they can do things, maybe kill the Honored Crop Captain. If they haven't held up instant speed removal, Bolt Hound can come down, give, a couple of 1 mana creatures or something, +1/+0, and really put your opponent in a difficult spot. So very, very important here. And last but not least, Ahn-Crop Crasher, 3 mana, 3/2 haste. You may exert Ahn-Crop Crasher as it attacks. If you do, target creature can't block this turn. So just, you have a 4/4 out or a 5/5 out or something. I don't want you to block with that. No big deal. It can't block just this turn. And when you exert, Ahn-Crop Crasher does not untap the next turn, but this can oftentimes be just barely enough to scoot through lethal, and that's what we're looking for. So without further ado, let's get to the games and see how it works out. All right, folks, here we are up against Sleepy. Good luck, Sleepy. And yeah, okay, we can hang into this. Looks like, oh boy, looks like our opponent's also on some red and white stuff. What else are they doing here, folks? All right, let's get down an Usher of the Fallen. It just has 100% more power than Healer's Hawk here, so that's the goal, right? We're trying to beat down. Opponent pitches Cathartic Reunion, or uses Cathartic Reunion to pitch Unburial Rites and Genesis Ultimatum into the bin. Well, so I guess it's a race, folks. It's a race. Our opponent is going to be doing Reanimator-style nonsense, so we are going to try and get as aggressive as possible. Please, no board sweepers, Sleepy. Do not anger the gods me. Please, Sleepy, do not anger of the gods me. Next turn would be pretty good, as long as our creatures all survive. Bolt Hound coming down to give all other attacking creatures +1/+0. Very, very strong. And looking forward to that for sure. Opponent, Thrill of Possibilities. Some nonsense away. A Nicholas Bolus. And thinking about things. Faithlessly loots. Currently, no Unburial Rights targets in the bin. Okay, well. Here we go. Bolt Hound. Yep. Lethal in play, folks. Lethal in play. What say you, Sleepy? I'm hoping Sleepy is going to say, I concede. Because a board sweeper here is pretty backbreaking. I don't know that we recover if they board sweep. I wouldn't say it's game over necessarily, but rebuilding is going to be hard. We don't have any haste in our hand or anything. Oh, crud. Is that GG then? I can't think of a... Yeah, okay. Didn't even have a land drop there. So, okay, let's do the thing. And we got him. All right, Sleepy. GG. GG. We got him. All right, folks. Here we are up against Enyi. Good luck, Enyi. Yeah. All right. Looks good. Gonna start on an Usher of the Fallen here. Uh-oh. Our opponent appearing to be on some form of life gain shenanigan. Not thrilled about that. Hollowed Priest. Coming on down, going to gain a life. Do the thing. Yeah, this stinks. But, you know, we're just going to keep, you know, we're going to stick to our game plan. Try and keep their life total in check. I think this is probably going to be one of our worst matchups. Unfortunately, the life gain stuff is relatively common, you know. But oh well. Okay. Yep. Well, fine. Then, interesting. We're gonna do this, I guess. Bonesplitter and equip, and now attack. We're kind of trying to entice our opponent into blocking here. They elect not to. Alright. And we're terrified of what they might cast next, honestly. Voice of the Blast. Alright, well. Let's go ahead and exile that. No lives gained. When it dies, of course. Because that's the backside of Lunarch Veteran. And, in fairness, we didn't... it didn't die, it got exiled, right? So now... Yep. Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. Well. Then fine. Ahn-Crop Crasher. We're going to go ahead and attack. Exert. Say this Hollow Priest can't block. And pass the turn. See what they do. They're going to do some blocking this turn, I expect. If nothing else, they'll at least kill the Usher of the Fallen. That is the worst for us. Yeah, we were really hoping they were feeling the pressure and going to block the Adanto Vanguard or something. Oh, okay, well, all right, this isn't bad. We're going to give ourselves, give our Adanto Vanguard indestructible and keep it around. Opponent drops to 11, but I'm not confident we're in, you know, we're in a winning position here. As a matter of fact, I would say, oh, no. Okay, well, yeah, Enyi pulls out the wallet, and I believe that is GG. Yeah, all right, well, we're just going to scoop him up and move on. GG, Enyi, GG. All right, folks, here we are up against Kaijiro, and yeah, we will want to draw land eventually, but this is a great hand, so we're going to keep it. Sacred Foundry. Untapped, Healer's Hawk, go. Long as we get one attack in, it evens up the life total at 19 apiece. Makes up for shocking even if we're in our racing situation, you know. Of course, our opponent not bothering to make that a big deal. We're just going to go ahead and get down a Relentless Raptor. Since they went with Rockfall Veil, it is strongly possible they're going to have some kind of creature out here. So the Vigilance, being able to attack and, block, kind of nice. We'll see. If we have to Lightning Strike to keep things out of the way, that's fine. Sure. Burning Tree Emissary. And Goblin and Archomancer. Well, we're going to go ahead and attack like this. We're expecting a double block here. And even if they don't have one, we're going to kill this in Archomancer. But what we really want is for our opponent to, double block so that we could Lightning Strike the other half, you know? And really get some serious value. We've got to keep the Anarchomancer off the battlefield, though, because otherwise next turn they can just go land Collected Company, and that's just going to be way too much value for us to overcome this early in the game. As it is, we may already be there, you know, as far as too much value to overcome. We must block, if able. Our opponent has the secret code. So, Bone Crusher Giant going to kill our Raptor here. Alright, well, we're going to get in. Relentless Raptor. Honored Crop Captain. We get to swing hard next turn, but it's unlikely we're going to be able to come out victorious, I think. Yeah, sure enough. Opponent goes with Collected Company. Oh boy, that's not strictly a whiff, but it's not a good hit either. Hey, interesting. That's a good one. I think we're still going to just Bolt Hound, though. Because this is actually, you know, lethal, technically. Our opponent can and almost certainly will block. Yeah, I was going to say, at the very least, the Honor Crop Captain. Yeah. This is the most predictable blocks. The issue here is, though, the Bonesplitter going on the Healer's Hawk next turn, they don't typically have a ton of, you know, ability to block things in the air. So, that might be good. Did not want the Sacred Foundry, I can tell you that right now. Yep. Got in. Opponent drops to 5. We go to 27. Yay, folks. This is close. 2 more attacks, and we can win. Okay. Domri doesn't just win the game here. And, yeah, I mean, more card advantage, sure. We take damage down to 23. No, Dak, don't be like that. Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and attack then. They have to block, otherwise they die. It's lethal, right? But we know with the Rage Forger coming down, the Burning Tree is going to become a 3/3 and deal a damage when it attacks. So this gives us, you know, a solid chance at just turning our creature sideways next turn and winning, you know? It's also true that we do have some more burn spells in the deck that we could draw now. You know, Spikefield Hazard, we have 2 of those. That's just lethal. We have another Lightning Strike in the list as well. So, you know, as long as our opponent isn't doing something too extraordinary, 27's a lot of life to chew through. Alright, Rage Forger. Yep. Another Rage Forger. Okay, well, that's inconvenient, but that's not 27. Yeah. And Kaijiro recognizes that and scoops him up. GG, opponent. GG. Alright, folks. Here we are up against B-Rabbit. Good luck, B-Rabbit. And yeah, I mean, this hand looks fine. You know, we'd probably eventually like at least another land, but oh boy. Holy crud, folks. Interesting. Hey, we've got the 1-drop on 1, then 1-drop, 1-drop on turn 2 start, and that's exactly where we want to be. Particularly when your opponent is getting really aggressive. No, they have the life gain land. Easily the best land they could have. The white... No! It went from, oh, this is really good news, to, oh, this is really bad news. Folks, this is the... We call it mono brown. Artifacts are actually gray now, but they used to be brown. Deck. And this is the white version. And the white version just has, like, 8 board sweepers or something in it. So, pretty bad for a generically just trying to attack red deck, or, you know, aggressive deck, you know. Opponent does have a million artifacts. So we're going to both cast and equip, and then cast, because most of the Ugin stuff just sweeps away colored things. Our opponent does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. If they have a land drop, they get Big Ugin. If they do not, it could just be, you know, Karn or Forsaken Monument. Oh, crud. Alright, well, inconvenient. Let's see. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, I can't envision a scenario where we win here, because these cards have to do something. Considering they didn't have a land drop, all of these cards are something, right? Okay. Yeah. So rather than commit more to the board this way, we're just going to go ahead and make a do. No, that was actually wrong, wasn't it? No, we were supposed to Adanto Vanguard here, I think. Because this lives through a board sweeper, and this one won't. I was worried about Teferi, but I guess it's inherently possible they don't have Teferi specifically. They have, you know, like Day of Judgments and things like that, but only one white source, right? And that makes a lot of sense. So I guess it would have been better. No! Oh, that's very bad. Because now this can come down at instant speed. Alright, well, we're going to try and win. And let's see. We're going to move this over here, because they could activate the Guardian Idol to block something, and we want to make it so our damage is well distributed. And the card they're going to want to block the most, in this case, is Bolt Hound. But currently, it's also doing the least amount of damage, right? So currently, they're going to be taking 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, which is, of course, just barely shy of lethal. But the fact that they did not activate Thran Temporal Gateway yet is very, very good. And, you know, maybe? They didn't activate it then either. Sacrifice the Hedron Archive to draw more cards. I mean, there's 2 Guardian Idols up now. But we only need to just attack with Scorch Spitter currently, if they cast nothing. I don't think it's likely they cast nothing. Because, of course, remember, Forsaken Monument not only doubles up their mana, which is the most common thing, it also allows our opponent to gain 2 life every time they cast a colorless spell, which, of course, the vast majority of spells in their deck are colorless, right? Looks like they are cracking Hedron Archive to draw cards. I mean, that's terrible for us, obviously. But that means they didn't have anything. Okay, Radiant Fountain, going to gain more life. Produce a bunch more mana. So, just attacking with Scorch Spitter, no longer good enough. But we are still, obviously, representing lethal. And our opponent, if they had an easy solution, just like Slam Ugin or Slam Ulamog, like, they would have done it. You know, with the Thran Temporal Gateway here, and then just blocked with some Guardian Idol stuff as well. So, currently, it's actually looking like we might win. Our you know, our opponent's deck has a lot of really, really powerful cards in it, but I want to gain some life, sure. But there's also a lot of air. You know, this card doesn't win the game. This card doesn't win the game. These cards technically can, but this card doesn't win the game. You know, these are just, you know, whatever. So there's a lot of cards that just help you work towards your game plan, but don't do it. And sure enough, folks, We were just aggressive enough to get the victory, it looks like. So GG B Rabbit. GG. All right, folks, we are back. We are back. And honestly, the deck did great. I believe I showed you every single game. We'll see how everything works out in the editing portion. You know, if I coughed really loud or something and Mama May gets upset when she's editing my videos, you know, maybe we will or maybe we won't see all the games. But, you know, I'm going to be flatly honest with you. I'll tell you every single game. We won against a deck trying to do some reanimate stuff. They had unburial rights and stuff in the graveyard. Yeah, we just killed them. They never did their thing, but that's the point of this deck. Kill them before they do, right? Then we lost to life gain stuff, which I do think is going to be one of our worst matchups. It's unfortunate. You kind of see it a lot, but you got to start somewhere. And this deck is a fine place to start for a lot of those things. We won against Shamans. Shamans is a very, very good deck. Sees a lot of play, does a lot of things. But darn it, we got them. And it was close. We, you know, ended up with a Healer's Hawk on the battlefield swinging in for the victory on the Bonesplitter. But we still had, like, I don't know, 18 life or something. There's a strong chance, post-attacks, they actually conceded during attacks. But I don't know how much life we actually ended up losing there because it never concluded. But it's strongly possible we might even be able to get another attack in, you know, where they pass the turn right on back to us again. Even, you know, if their life total hadn't been that low. So it was close, but I don't even think it was that close. And we got them. And then we also won against the Mono Brown deck. I was a little bit surprised by that one. And I kind of misplayed just a little bit, I feel like. We had an opportunity to play an Adanto Vanguard, and I should have done it because they could have had a Day of Judgment or Doomscar style card. But I was more worried about Ugins and stuff. I think that was the wrong thing to be worried about. If they cast an Ugin, we were just going to lose anyway. So I should have played around the other cards. So I kind of even screwed up just a little bit there, but still got him. Still got him. So it feels good. So we ended up going 3-1 with the deck. I did play another game with the deck before I started recording that was also a win, but I didn't get the recording started. So that one will not be shown to you. And yeah, it was just a good clean win against Mono Red. They were getting really aggressive and attacking us and stuff, and we got it was something like Usher the Fallen into Scorch Spitter, and they like shocked, bolted. Then we got down a Healer's Hawk, put a Bonesplitter on it, and just raced them basically. And you know, we cast some other stuff later on in the game, but the Healer's Hawk they weren't able to remove immediately. We gained like 6 life of it, and the Mono Red deck just folded basically after that. But unfortunately, I did not have the recording going, so you don't get to see that one. But either way, the deck honestly, you know, so if I count the game I didn't get to record, it was even 4 wins and a loss. Just counting the games I did record, it was 3-1. So very, very solid. And again, in the main here, no rares and mythics outside of the lands. I do highly recommend you get rare lands, folks. I know it stinks to craft and it really hurts, but casting your spells is going to be much better. Casting bad spells is much better than casting no spells at all, right? Having them stranded in your hand because you don't have the right colors of mana is backbreaking. So definitely start doing that. But this deck, you absolutely could craft it, even if maybe you only have like 1 or 2 Needleverge Pathways and a Sacred Foundry or something. That's all the rare lands you've got. Okay, it's no big deal. Craft the deck. You can craft a deck anyway with just the commons and uncommons and what rare lands you got, and then move on. But just understand, the deck will perform a little worse. If you can't cast your spells reliably, you're going to lose some number of games because of that, right? Or if you have to cast them off curve and things like that. So be aware of that. Other things you can do to upgrade this deck. Well, first of all, just there's probably some rares and mythics you have in your collection that will probably be really good in here right off the bat. And like one of them might be, you know, like the lightning strikes could easily be Bone Crusher Giants. So Bone Crusher Giant comes down or we use it as a removal spell to get blockers out of the way and things. And it also gets to be a 4/3. And just trades really well, gives you some pseudo card advantage, but can go at the face, stuff like that, right? You could do, you know, and, you know, if you were doing that, you might pull the aerial responder, so you could get 4 of those. Some other cards you might consider, Legion's Landing gives you another vampire with lifelink, but also when you attack with 3 or more creatures, you get to transform Legion's Landing into a land that can produce extra creatures every turn, which can be really nice, just as a 1-drop that gives you a 1/1 lifelink, and then having the ability to go and produce extra creatures when you maybe are flooding out a little bit or something like that can be nice. Hushbringer can actually be really, really good in this meta because there's so many end of the battlefield effects. No big deal. Shut them all down. Oh, your cat oven? When your cat comes in, I lose a life. When you sacrifice your cat, you get a... No. Shut down end of the battlefield triggers. Shut down dying triggers right here. Hushbringer. And Hushbringer does carry a Bonesplitter really well. Lightning Helix, arguably the card this deck wants the most. Randomly stick your hand in the bag, pull out 4 cards, put in 4 Lightning Helix, and the deck gets better, right? It doesn't matter. This card, easily one of the best cards that this deck could be running. Obviously, a strict upgrade over Lightning Helix or Lightning Strike and stuff. So if you have these, put them in. Similarly, the rare lands, Den of the Bugbear and like Castle Umbreath, if you have some of these in your collection, even if it's just one of, the deck gets better with them just giving you the opportunity to math. Oh, yeah, okay. I guess if I attack with everything, Castle Umbreath, they're dead. Well, okay. That's... Your land just killed them, right? And gives you an advantage in a spot where normally your lands are doing nothing, right? And that's why I put in these cast your spells rares, but not these deal damage rares, because I wanted to prove you can do it without. And darn it, I proved it, right? We did the thing. But I would prioritize casting your spells over these if you were crafting. So that said, the other ones I would bring up, Luminarch Aspirant, still a very strong card. It stinks it got nerfed, but I think it could still belong here, particularly throwing 1/1 counters onto Adanto Vanguards and Healer's Hawks, or even the aerial responders, things like that, can really, really make things difficult on your opponent. And the Relentless Raptor as well, because the Relentless Raptor can be a 3/3, and that's big in the early game, but kind of starts falling off later as your opponent's casting bigger and bigger creatures. It's still just 3/3. Well, okay. Keep putting a 1/1 counter on it every turn. You're kind of keeping pace, and you're still just beating down with this gigantic creature. So it could really help. And last but not least, definitely not least, Intrepid Adversary. Great on turn 2 as just a 3/1 lifelink beater. Just we're attacking, you know, arguably just better than Relentless Raptors, because it also helps in the race stuff. And you don't care about toughness anyway. You're not blocking. Are you kidding me? Right? We're attacking. We're attacking in this deck. So basically a strict upgrade there. But then on turn 4, when it can come down and be a 3/1 lifelink later on, but also give the entire team +1/+1 right now, lights out. Would really like to have it. There are probably several other cards that are just, you know, other rares and mythics that you might even have, and I would encourage you to try. But I would say, keep a focus on being aggressive. If it costs 4 mana, you had better be certain that you want that card. It had better be lights out and awesome. If it's ever stranded in your hand, you lose the game. You need to be able to play every single card in your hand, basically every single game, or you're going to lose, right? Just that simple. So, that said, folks, the deck was a blast. I had a great time. I would like to invite all of you folks over to my Twitch channel. I have a Twitch channel. I stream 5 nights a week. I'd love to say hi, get to know you, and all that kind of thing. But also just leave a comment down below if there are other cards you might change and stuff about it. I'm always looking to improve my budget lists and, you know, to help newer players get into Historic. I love this format, and I think it's a great place to go and hang out and play. Have a great day.